The death of 49-year-old PHV driver Gavin Neo on 29 May 2025 has stirred public concern and calls for better driver welfare. Neo, a single father of two, reportedly worked up to 15 hours daily and consumed multiple energy drinks to stay awake. A Grab Diamond tier driver, he was deeply committed to his children. Fellow driver Brian Ang recalled Neo's overnight shifts and modest lifestyle, often sharing late-night meals of 3.80 Singapore dollars chicken rice. When asked about his frugality, Neo simply said, "It's for my kids and their future." His passing has prompted advocacy from NTUC-linked associations. Neo's sudden death led to an outpouring of grief and frustration on social media. Many Singaporeans questioned why such tragedies must occur before action is taken. Users commenting on the National Private Hire Vehicles Association, Leon Herzao Bao, and Mothership Facebook pages expressed concern about the lack of proactive measures to regulate drivers' hours and ensure fair earnings. One comment wrote that authorities must enforce a maximum driving limit of 12 hours per day to protect both drivers and public safety. Others pointed out that the low fares offered by ride-hailing platforms, combined with high commission rates and increasing overheads, force drivers to work extended hours to break even. Grab is taking nearly 28% of combination of commission and platform fees, hence left drivers with puny balance yet have to cope with high rental, high fuel, and even CPF contribution now, one user observed. The overhead cost is too high until driven driver to work long hour until stroke and die. In response to the incident, 3 NTUC-affiliated associations, NPHVA, National Taxi Association, and National Delivery Champions Association, issued a joint statement on 3 June. They called on platform operators to address key issues affecting platform workers' livelihoods, including work hours, welfare, earnings, and transparency in fare structures. The associations proposed that platforms implement clear and fair pricing structures, avoiding schemes that incentivize unsafe working hours. They argued that workers should receive a reasonable restoration to minimize fatigue and associated health risks. The statement emphasized the importance of price transparency so that drivers can better understand their earnings and make informed decisions. Pricing should not fall below a fair minimum, the association stated, and avoid schemes that incentivizes platform workers to work long hours to get rewards. Some comments echoed the association's call, urging the unions to push for a progressive fare system. One user noted, "It is actually astonishing that everything has increased due to high costs of living, and yet e-hailing fares are not increasing and are mostly lower than taxi fares, except for certain periods of time." Platform worker associations are urging operators to expand insurance protections beyond current frameworks like WICA and NTUC Govt. Following PHV driver Gavin Neo's death, NDCA, NPHVA, and NTA offered his family support. Fellow drivers launched a crowdfunding campaign for his children. NTUC's Yu Wan Ling highlighted union efforts to protect platform workers. As formally registered PWAs, these groups negotiate with companies on behalf of 67,600 platform workers facing high physical and mental risks in Singapore. Beyond union responses, individual PHV drivers have taken to social media to voice deeper frustrations. Some shared that the opaque fare structures make it difficult to assess earnings. One driver compared the ride-hailing model to a buyer-seller transaction, where drivers act as sellers and platforms like Grab as middlemen. However, drivers are unaware of how much passengers are charged, raising concerns about transparency and fairness. This lack of clarity affects tax declarations, especially since rising operational costs often exceed the 60% deemed expense threshold. Mounting expenses, from fuel to fines, are forcing drivers to work longer hours just to cope. The user called on the NPHVA to take a stronger stance in addressing these systemic issues and protecting drivers' rights. Another called on the union to recognize driving as a high-risk occupation, given the hazards encountered daily. "We face jaywalkers, errant e-bikes, speeding vehicles. Our lives are on the line every day," the user wrote. Among those commenting online, some urged Labour Chief Ng Chi Meng to publicly address the structural issues behind his death and the rising number of drivers juggling multiple jobs to survive.